It's time to level up your latte art pours, so let's go into 5 techniques that are essential for doing professional level latte art. Doing competition grade latte art can be very difficult on some home machines. Now I've managed to get my old Battle Axe Rancilio Silvia, which is a single boiler machine, to be able to do consistently good steam, but it can be very difficult. So I'm planning on doing a future video on entry level and single boiler machines. So if you want to see that video when it comes out, you should consider subscribing. A bonus tip for people like me who have single boiler machines, it can be very difficult to get the contrast right because your espresso is sitting on the countertop for 2 or 3 minutes while you heat up and steam that milk. So what you can do is get a fork or a spoon and stir the espresso just before you start the pour. This will really help to break up the surface so you don't get those horrible marbling looks that really mess up your nice latte art pours. So the first and most important skill, and one that is basically necessary for all advanced pours, is the monk's head and stop and the ripple and stop. The important part here is to stop the pour sharply so that you get a really nice clean line. You might find that if you pour inconsistently and don't get that sharp cutoff, then you'll get beige lines rather than sharp clear lines. A good way to practice the ripple and stop is by doing a triple rosetta. You can do this by doing a simple rosetta into the center of your design and then pouring 2 more ripple and stops on the right and left side of your rosetta. The monk's head and stop with a sharp cutoff is really fun to practice. You can do this by doing a multi-level tulip with as many hearts as you can fit in as possible. Don't forget to push out that first heart and push it further into the cup. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but make sure you push it out so you have enough space to do as many hearts as you can. At the end of each ripple or monk's head, make sure you pull up sharply so you get those nice, clean lines. When you do your straight pull through at the end, you can rotate your cup to make sure that this is straight. Don't try rotating the jug because it's very difficult to pull a straight line when your jug is off center. Next, you'll want to be able to do a pull through on one side, which pinches the side of a ripple. Now, a lot of different designs like hearts, tulips, and rosettas have a pull through the center, but for more advanced designs like a swan, you need to learn how to pinch to one side of a ripple. This is often used for designs which have wings like swans or even more advanced designs like dragons. Just the same as with ripple and stop, you're going to pour your ripple or your series of hearts for a tulip. Usually you'll need at least 4 or 5 nice hearts in your tulip to make it look good, but if they're very crisp, it can look very nice with just 3. Once you finish your ripple or hearts, rotate your cup a little bit round to one side so that the jug pulls through on one side only. Just as with a normal ripple pull through, you want to rotate your cup rather than your jug to make sure that the pour is straight and you avoid having those wobbly lines. Next, you'll need to understand just a little bit about surface tension and timing. If you begin your pour much earlier, the design will push out a lot further into the cup. The later you start your design, the smaller your design is going to be. So when you're doing advanced designs, do the bigger parts of the design first, and if you want to have a few smaller ripples, do them later on in the pour. Number 4 is push velocity, and this makes a huge difference in how your pours look in the end. You need to develop the confidence to do the right level of push to get the effects that you want. Now take a look at these 2 pours. Do you notice anything different? Well, the one on the left, I didn't push the milk, and I just used gravity and the weight of the milk to do the design for me. It doesn't look terrible, but we're not going for just okay latte art. We want to do advanced, nice looking latte art. On the right side, I pushed the milk to get greater velocity, which allowed me to get a much more dramatic look for this design. You can use push velocity, especially at the beginning of your pour, to create a broad area for your design that everything can be poured within. This looks so much better than a minimized design that was started without enough velocity and ends up looking really small with a lot of negative space. Higher pour velocity can also be used to smash through other parts of your design, and when done correctly, it will push edges away, such as, for example, creating a heart within a heart, or making something like a peacock feather on the end of a ripple. A little tip at this point is to use a decent milk jug. I usually use a 20 ounce or roughly 600 milliliter barista jug, but you don't have to go out and spend £100 or more on a latte art jug if you don't want to. I can still pour some nice designs on the cheap jug I bought on Amazon that I got when I first got into espresso, but for more advanced designs, it's difficult to get really fine lines with a really wide brimmed jug. So when you're buying a latte art jug, look for one with a pointed tip and a good lead-in. The wedge shape at the tip of the Barista Swag one that I use is really great and helps me with latte art. Just make sure that any jug that you get doesn't have a wide brim like this one. I haven't tried out that many barista jugs, so if you have one that's really great, please tell me about it in the comments below and I'll see if I can get a hold of one. The next technique is to use the milk at the right time to get thin lines or thick circles. Even when your milk is well incorporated, you're going to get different thickness of milk at the beginning of your pour from the end. At the end, the milk tends to be a little bit thicker, which you can use properly if you've planned for it. Just make sure that you don't stop your pour to try and reincorporate your milk by swirling it in the jug. This doesn't actually work and it will end up with wispy milk that blotches all over your nice design. Finish your pour without stopping to make sure that your milk doesn't separate. A final bonus tip, use the right shaped coffee cups. Now, I made a whole video about people using the wrong cups for lattes. This is especially important when you're doing nice advanced designs, because if you don't have that right curve, the milk is going to surface in a different way and it'll be much more difficult to pour advanced latte art pours. You want to use a cup with a nice wide brim so you have plenty of space to let that design come out, and it should have a curve that continues throughout rather than a straight or sharp corner like you might expect from a square-shaped mug. I really hope these tips helped you improve your latte art. As soon as I have time to film them, I'm gonna make some more videos about the most advanced latte arts that I know how to do, and I'll break them down piece by piece so you can try them for yourself at home. So keep an eye out for that video coming soon. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Entry-level and single boiler machine, so if you want to see that, you should consider subscribing. Why did I ruin the last word? The last word, that was a long sentence. I'm definitely not in focus. Next you're gonna purr. You want to time your pours at the right time. You want to time. Now I've managed to get my blah blah. The next technique is, why am I pointing? That's weird, don't do that.